Why did you walk out on that first date? 1. Turns out she already had a boyfriend. Partway through the date, he showed up and joined us. Wasn't into that at all. Hard to believe this happened almost 20 years ago. 2. He straight up told me he was married. 3. First date at a pub. The chat was good. The vibe felt right. I went to the bathroom, came back, and she wasn't at our table. Found her at the bar making out with some random guy. I walked right by them and headed home. On the train, she blew up my phone. Why did you leave? I thought it was going great. Did I drink too much? Sorry, I texted. You know exactly why I left. Then I blocked her. 4. Within the first 15 minutes, he asked, do you like movies? I said yes. And he replied, yeah, corn movies. Then he slid over next to me and kept pushing me to go for a walk outside, away from everyone. 5. Went to a work event with a friend and met this handsome, charming guy. He asked me out for the weekend. Nice restaurant, good conversation, drinks ordered. Food had just been placed when he said he had something to tell me. He was married. I asked why he even asked me out. He said I was so beautiful he had to try and figured I'd say no if I knew. I said he was right, stood up and left. He called me rude for leaving after we'd ordered. About a year later, he texted that he was getting divorced and was ready to date me, as if I'd been waiting around, and as if I'd ever trust someone who cheats. 6. He kept ordering cocktails and shooters with sexual names, took one sip, didn't like them, and tried to hand them to me while saying stuff like, here's your orgasm. He kept bugging the waitress with lines like, give me a blowjob. The drink. Loud, laughing, and making everyone uncomfortable. After drink number 3 in under 20 minutes, I just got up and walked out. A cute guy who saw the whole thing followed me out, offered to walk me home in case my date bothered me. We dated for a while. It didn't last, but we're still close friends. 7. She showed up already tipsy and started downing pricey, skinny margaritas. While I was in the restroom, she told the bartender, he's paying and he'll drive me home. I knew the staff, so when she hit the bathroom after ordering her third in 30 minutes, I paid for my 1 beer, left cash for hers if she bailed, told the bartender to text me if she didn't cover her tab, and walked out. No patience for that nonsense. 8. The guy dug up his ex-wife's dead dog so he could cremate it as a wedding gift. He showed me the blanket-wrapped body in his backyard. 9. 15 minutes in, she still hadn't looked up from her phone. I stood up and left, not sure she even noticed. 10. After my parents split and mom started dating again, she met a guy online and they arranged to meet at a pub. She got there first. He arrived straight from work. He worked at a duck farm and was covered in bird poop and smelled exactly like you'd think. The whole place was staring and sniffing. Mom bolted, and she didn't bother dating for a while after that. If you're still watching, means you're enjoying the stories. Subscribe so you can look forward to more stories like these. Now on to 11. I went on a date at a restaurant, and right away she started treating the server, the host, and basically anyone who worked there like crap. She was rude, talked down to them, just full of attitude. The only thing I could think was, if this is how she treats people she doesn't know, I'm going to be the one getting treated like this in a few months. Then she started complaining about the food after just a few bites. I got up and told her I'd handle it. Went over to the host, explained everything, paid the full bill, then came back to the table and told her I was leaving, and this wasn't for me. She started freaking out, saying I wasted her time, and I told her exactly what I was thinking earlier. She was cute, had a good education, we had some stuff in common, and maybe it was just a bad day for her. But if you treat people like trash for no reason, I'm out. 12. I showed up to the date looking good, hair done, dressed up, and honestly in my prime in my 20s. The guy looked nothing like his picture. He was at least 10 years older than what I was shown, didn't sound like who I had been talking to, super overweight, in a dirty t-shirt and sweatpants. First thing he says is, oh, you'll be having an appetizer at most. I thought you were thinner. No hello, no nice to meet you, nothing. I'm 99% sure I got catfished. I didn't say a word, just turned around and left. By the time I got home, he had already blocked me, but not before sending, you don't know how good you had it, ugly bish. Cool. Yeah, I really missed out on a guy in greasy sweatpants who lies and insults women. 13. She lied about everything. How she looked, her fitness, said she didn't smoke but you could smell her coming. Said she didn't drink but turned out she was an alcoholic and had been sectioned twice. Said she was a doctor but had actually lost her license and wasn't working. Just a whole mess. 14. I made the mistake of going to his place for dinner. The food was actually good. Conversation was decent. After we ate, he said we could watch a movie. I went to the bathroom, and when I came back, he had already pulled out the sofa bed and started the movie, except it was corn. I grabbed my purse and walked straight out. Blocked him everywhere, and thankfully he never had my address. 15. Met this girl from a dating app, and she was straight up unbearable. Rude, pushy, and couldn't stop talking about the app. Every other sentence was about guys messaging her, dates she went on, how the apps work. Then she starts going on about how if she feels no connection, she just gets up and leaves because her time is too valuable. So I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I did exactly that? I asked her if she needed money for a cab or anything, because I was heading out. The look on her face was priceless. 16. She was 30. I'm 32. Out of nowhere, she asked how much money I make, and her tone was weirdly pushy. She'd already been rude and distant, so I said I needed the bathroom, walked out, and never came back. Plenty of other options out there. 17. We'd messaged for a couple weeks and finally lined up a night for sushi at my favorite spot near home. I said I'd pay, she said she'd drive. She showed up almost an hour late, threw the car in reverse without even looking, and nearly hit traffic, then laughed it off. The place was only a few blocks away, and I realized she was totally stoned. Inside, she was rude to the staff and demanded omuris, which isn't on the menu. They actually made it, and she didn't even thank them. All through dinner, she talked about being the designated driver for friends later, even though we had plans after eating. I excused myself, paid the check, apologized to the staff, told them she wouldn't be back with me, went to the table, wished her fun with her friends, and walked home. 18. We met on a dating app. When we met in person, she did the head-to-toe scan, made a face like something nasty was under her nose, and gave me the limpest handshake ever. My pics were accurate. I'm maybe a 6.5, so the reaction was rough. I tried small talk, but it was like pulling teeth. When the drinks arrived, I stood up, said, "This isn't going to work. Have a good night." Took my drink to the bar and ended up making a new friend, another guy drinking alone after his ex brought him there to dump him. 19. She spent the first 20 minutes trash-talking her family, poor folks, and our server, who was actually a cool guy I'd rather have hung out with. She went from pretty to totally unattractive, real fast. When she asked where I wanted dinner, I told her we weren't a match, said I'd already paid for the drinks, wished her well, and got up to leave. She said she was just nervous, but I stuck to my decision. Later, she sent a long text, starting with, "What you failed to understand with your simple worldview," so I deleted it and blocked her. I hope she finds her crowd, and that I never meet them. 20. We met for drinks. She learned I used to run marathons and spent 30 minutes lecturing me about them, though she's never run before. I said I was heading to the bathroom, walked out to the patio, and kept on walking. If you've made it this far, write marathon in the comments, so I know you're still watching. Now on to 21. She yelled at the waiter over the table he gave us. We never even ordered drinks. I just got up and left. I cannot respect someone who will not respect other people. 22. She laughed at me for putting a napkin on my lap and said only women do that. I asked why. She said she did it because her clothes are nice and she does not want stains. I said that is why I do it too. She shot back that my clothes are just men's clothes, then spent another 10 minutes saying how girly it is for a guy to use a napkin like that. 23. The guy showed up about 100 pounds heavier than his pictures and had not cut his hair in 4 years, had not showered in 2 weeks, and did not know what deodorant was. I stayed for one drink, then said I had to go. He replied, "Oh, I thought we were going to have segs. I will just go home and masturbate again then." 24. He arrived with a huge hickey on the side of his neck. He cheerfully explained it was from a night at the club and definitely not some weird injury. 25. I was set to meet a guy for a drink. He did not even leave his place until I texted that I was already there. Strike one. While waiting, I sat at the bar talking with everyone, including the bartender. A man sat beside me. I said, "Hi." He ignored me, so I kept chatting. Turned out that was my date, upset because I was friendly with others. Strike two. He had to top every story. I love cooking. He was a trained chef and said everything I do is wrong. I am a master gardener. He told me my gardening ideas were wrong too. I have kids. He has never been married but said I raised them wrong. Strike three. Last straw. He bragged about buying whole cuts of meat and breaking them down. I said when I get home at 8 p.m. after my kids' gymnastics and martial arts, I need quick chicken breasts. He ranted that I was a bad mother for letting my kids be out so late, and said if I were not so careless, I would have time to cook proper food. My kids were 12 and 15, not toddlers. Strike 4. I stood up and told the whole bar, "This is not gonna work. Now I know why you are single." The bartender said my Diet Coke was on the house. I waved to everyone and walked out. Reply, I had almost the same date, except it was not a date. The guy heard I worked where he wanted to work and lived in a country he hoped to visit. He asked to meet for advice. During our chat, he kept bragging about how brilliant he was. When I shared my time abroad, he insisted he knew their culture better, even though he had never been there. He got possessive, was upset I wanted to pay for my own drinks, and grew jealous when I talked with the bartender while he used the restroom. I mentioned my dad's poor health. He one-upped me with his mom's illness and said he alone cared for her out of 8 siblings. When I described a scary moment with my dad, he cut me off and told me to talk about something happy. There was no second meeting. 26, I was on what felt like a good date. About 30 minutes in, I offered to grab us another round, and she said she was heading home instead. I sent the "nice meeting you, hope you got home safe" text anyway. And she answered that she only left because she thought I wasn't into her. We got married in 2019 and have 2 kids now. Always fire off that follow-up text if you like someone, even when you think they don't feel the same. 27, I was around 28. She was about the same. We met at a chill neighborhood bar, things were fun, and I already wanted to see her again. She went to the bathroom for about 10 minutes and came back clearly on something that was not booze or weed. I have seen too many people crash and burn on that road, so I stood up, paid the tab, and walked right out. She trailed after me yelling awful stuff. Calling that a bullet dodged is putting it lightly. 28. After a solid date, she called me every name in the book because I would not buy extra food for her 2 kids at home. I knew she had kids, but flipping out because your first date won't shell out $50 for take-home seafood on top of the $87 spent already is wild. 29, I suggested coffee. She pushed for dinner at a fancy spot. Fine, I did not feel like cooking anyway. From the start, it was like a job interview. How much do you make? What are your career goals? And more. I was done fast. When the bill came, she said the man should cover it all. She had picked pricey dishes, so I excused myself to the restroom, paid my half at the bar, walked out, and blocked her. I am not a walking ATM. 30, I got catfished. We met at a bar, and she was at least 100 pounds heavier than her photos. I told her straight up I did not appreciate being lied to, thanked her for her time, and left. 31, everything she said was negative from the moment she got in the car. When we got to the restaurant, she realized she forgot either her purse or phone and wanted to go back to her house to get it. Once we got back and she shut the door, I just took off. She texted me once asking, "What the fruck?" And I never heard from her again. 32, he gave off creepy vibes. I don't know how else to say it. It was so bad that the waiter must have noticed either my uncomfortable look or felt the same vibes. He kept coming to our table every few minutes, checking on me specifically. After about 30 minutes, I just left. 33, he started talking about his firearms and how the feds are trying to put him on a list, and about the Second Amendment. I told him I had to go to the grocery store and left. 34, right away, he said he thinks piercings and tattoos on women are disgusting. I have a nose ring and a few tattoos, which were all visible in my profile pictures. 35, he gave me the biggest red flag feeling I've ever had. If you wrote down our conversation, it would seem normal, but every part of me was screaming to get away. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him in the news as a serial killer someday. 36, she proudly told me she absolutely hated dogs. 37, she was just so dumb. We were talking about what attracts us to a partner, and I said, I love it when someone talks about something they love and I can see the light in their eyes. She seriously asked me if I meant I was shining a flashlight in their eyes. I checked twice to see if she was joking. She wasn't. I made an excuse and left. 38. After seeing a movie, I asked if she wanted to grab a drink, and she said, "Yeah, but at this pub." Fair enough. When we got there, her brother, sister, and sister's boyfriend happened to be there. They talked among themselves for an hour without including me. After that, I said, "Nature's calling, be right back." Walked out and never saw her again. 39. He brought his wife along. I was 20, he was 24, and she barely looked 18. They were looking for a third, even though his profile was all about trying to find the one. 40. She tried to order chicken fettuccine after already ordering a different main dish. She knew she was going to take it to go so the guy she's actually sleeping with could eat on my dime. I never took a woman out to dinner on a first date again. That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe so I can keep bringing you more of these stories. Thanks for sticking around till the end. See you next time, and take care.